Hello, hello, thank you. So we have all these lovely seats up front for those of you in the back if you'd like to come sit down. As you heard, I'm Margaret Lowe, I'm president of AtlanticLIVE, and it is so wonderful to see all of you here for this morning's forum, Building Opportunity for All. We bring the Atlantic's journalism to life on stages across the country, tackling some of the most consequential issues of our time. And today we're going to focus on income inequality, which, as we know, is a defining challenge. America produces more wealth than any other country in the world. The economy is growing, the unemployment rate is at a 30-year low, and there are more jobs than people to fill them. And yet, there are still way too many Americans whose fortunes are not rising with this tide. The disparities between the haves and the have-nots are profound, and this is especially true here in Philadelphia. There's a new Bloomberg study that found the gap between this city's rich and poor is one of the biggest in the nation. It's just behind Atlanta and New Orleans. And while the poverty rates are generally declining across the country, it's not the case here. In this city, 1 in 4 residents live below the poverty line. So the statistics are pretty grim, but we're actually here today to talk about potential solutions for this city and for the country as a whole. And we've gathered lots of great minds to do just that. We've got political leaders, leaders in business, education, and philanthropy. Before we begin, I do want to take a moment to thank our partners and collaborators, the Shared Prosperity Partnership. This is an initiative of the Kresge Foundation, the Brookings Institution, the Urban Institute, and Living Cities, and together those places made today possible. And with that, it is my great pleasure to welcome Amy Liu. She is Vice President and Director of the Metropolitan Policy Program at the Brookings Institution. She is also one of the nation's experts on cities and economic development. Amy.
Good morning. Thank you, Margaret. As Margaret said, I'm Amy Liu. I am Vice President of the Brookings Institution and Director of its Metropolitan Policy Program. And Brookings is proud to be part of the Shared Prosperity Partnership, which is a collaboration, as you just heard, that involves 4 national organizations, the others being the Kresge Foundation, the Urban Institute, and Living Cities. And in fact, each of the chief executives of these organizations, Rip Rapson, Sarah Wartell, and I believe Ben Hecht will be joining us today, they are here. And we are excited to be in this great city of Philadelphia. And we want to thank you for joining us this morning. And I also want to thank all those who are joining us by webcast on this early Monday morning. Now, the Shared Prosperity Partnership is pleased to co-host this forum with the AtlanticLIVE. Now, the entire Atlantic family, including its subsidiary CityLab, has helped elevate the experience of cities and metropolitan areas and why their challenges and their promising innovations matter nationally. I want to particularly thank Ron Brownstein, who, for his cogent writings. I don't even know if I see Ron here. Where's Ron? But anyway, I really appreciate the fact that he has a real passion for cities. He believes that cities, in their racial and ethnic composition, their economic dynamism, their global engagement, that cities represent the best of future America if we embrace them. Now, if cities are our future, cities can do more. There is too much racial and economic exclusion, as Margaret relayed. And when too many children, working-age adults, and families are left out of good opportunities, our economy suffers, trust erodes, and political instability ensues. And Brookings data reinforces this challenge. According to our annual Metro Monitor, which tracks the economic performance of the nation's 100 largest metropolitan areas, how many metros do you think were able in the past year to grow their economies, be more productive and prosperous, and improve the incomes and employment levels for households in their community? How many? 11. 11 out of 100 metros. And of those 11, how many were able to do that and improve outcomes for both whites and people of color? 2. Only 2 out of 100 metropolitan areas. So in other words, you as leaders are not alone. Shared prosperity is a shared challenge. We can no longer pass the buck. We can no longer rely on higher levels of governing. We can no longer shrug it off as too hard. This is our metro moment. This is the time to lean into our values, that everyone in our community has a productive role to play in society and in our economy. And that brings me to today's forum and the heart of the Shared Prosperity Partnership. Today we are gathering as the first in a series of regional forums co-hosted by the Shared Prosperity Partnership and AtlanticLIVE to elevate the goal of shared prosperity. This forum will focus on the economy, the business case for economic inclusion, and how job quality and entrepreneurialism can boost inclusive growth. We are pleased to feature leaders from Philadelphia, including the mayor, Mayor Jim Kenney, and John Fry, president of Drexel University. We are also pleased that leaders from other cities have come to share their experience. Now, in future forums, we will explore solutions to economic mobility so we can close disparities by race. And we will also explore solutions that support neighborhoods so that we can close disparities by place. In addition to the forums, the partners in the Shared Prosperity Partnership are motivated also by the promise of action. The good news is that there are already a great deal of activity underway among a cross-section of city and regional leaders across the country who are committed to build a more inclusive future. So what we want to do is we want to bring our collective expertise and our resources to help leaders accelerate or improve their efforts or help them take emerging efforts to scale. Already, our 4 institutions are working with thoughtful leaders in metros like Minneapolis-St. Paul, Cleveland, Memphis, Milwaukee, Fresno, and some of the leaders are with us today. They, with the Aspen Institute, will stick around after the forum to compare notes on their strategies and deepen their impact. The Shared Prosperity Partnership hopes to collaborate with additional cities over the next year to propel the next generation of solutions that address racial equity and economic competitiveness so that city leaders can drive real change across America. So thank you. Thank you for being part of an important conversation and movement to make inclusive growth and shared prosperity not just a tagline, but the result of real intentions to remove historic barriers and create new norms rooted in the belief that every young person and adult is an asset in an economy that prizes human capital. So I want to thank again the AtlanticLIVE and my colleagues in the Shared Prosperity Partnership. Please join us in dialogue using the hashtag you see found here on the board behind me, and let's begin. Thanks.